All right. Welcome to 2025. And with it comes a brand new year for the Fragments of Silicon. And indeed, any potential viewers slash listeners that may be tuning in either now or in the archive. With that in mind, we are here back again with another review session. 4 reviews up this week, the first of which is Lithium City. Lithium City is a stylized, isometric action game set in a neon-drenched world of electricity and violence. You play the role of Tsunami, a lightning-fast blue-haired girl, as she fights her way through a dark and vibrant vision of the future. Right.
It looks magenta to me.
Okay, let me give a little asterisk to that. This is the prologue where you are playing a purple-haired lady, let's call her Violet. Here's the thing, there's no text, there's no dialogue, there's not really a story. It tries to do the non-verbal communication and doesn't really do a good job of it, because at no point did I ever get even the remotest hint of who I was fighting, why I was fighting, anything like that. Like,
it's cyberpunk, so you're presumably fighting a corporation, but which one and why, who knows?
Right. And indeed, magenta-haired lady here, here's the thing, I guess it's a bit of a spoiler, she's the final boss. Mainly because after her rampage here, she starts to go haywire, and, I don't know, malfunctions, head blows up, you make the call. The point is, you fight her at the end. Because the real character, Tsunami, will be showing up in a few seconds on screen. She is much faster in terms of walking speed.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not a big fan of the slow walk ladies got going on here.
So it doesn't matter much when you have apparently infinite dashes.
Well, once again, those are for storyline reasons. Or maybe not storyline, but certainly the slow walk is a choice. It's like they're trying to impart something here. The thing is, I'm not sure what. Their conveyance of information is quite frankly shit.
So the one Tsunami I'm playing now has limited dashes, but can move around better.
Yes. And of course, that will come into play as you go through this building.
Also, you don't have a sword anymore.
No, I use fisticuffs.
Yeah. You won't really deal with a sword until the end. That is not to say that you won't be dealing with other weapons, and they'll be coming up here soon. Honestly, the overall arsenal is very early 90s brawler, combined with early 90s run and gun.
Oh, and now we have live ordnance.
But those are all temporary.
Limited. Like the melee weapons, because a pipe doesn't have ammo, a knife doesn't have ammo. you can use them until you come up against the green energy thingy that'll destroy weapons.
Good old aperture science exclusion fields.
Yes. But yeah, and there are many firearms in the game. There are pistols, there are submachine guns, there are shotguns. No sniper rifles.
I mean, makes sense. Because it looks like it's all indoors, close quarters, so I wouldn't want to be using a sniper rifle indoors, close quarters.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically an isometric beat-em-up.
There's very Hotline Miami vibes going on here.
I suppose, but it's not very surreal. Honestly, I'd call the marketing text was hyping up the aesthetics, but if I'm being honest, I would consider this to be bog standard cyberpunk. Like, neon lights, especially like blue, purple, that kind of thing. It looks like something from the 80s. The music is vaporware, EDM, that stuff that wouldn't be out of place, from Blade Runner or what have you. Like I said, it's all very, this is the modern idea of cyberpunk, or at least the aesthetics of cyberpunk. And it's really.
I was gonna say, it affects your combat style a bit if you're using dashes to approach and you have a really handheld weapon that's a really shorter range. But I guess if you get guns often enough, that balances it somewhat. And I know enough from playing Cyberpunk that mono katanas are expensive anyway. So,
anyway. Yeah, a couple of other things. The combat and the dashing can get a bit clunky. That has to do with the isometric perspective more than anything else, because the isometric perspective is honestly kind of clunky. It just inherently. You saw Petty there. You'll get snagged on the geometry far more than you ever want to. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but it can be a bigger problem in later levels, because this game will up the ante. Once again, I guess getting into the late game stuff, Chapter 6, for example, you will be dealing with a fucking gunship that has fucking miniguns, and you will have to be dashing around that. Oh boy. That's when you're really going to start hating the isometric perspective, because, all of a sudden you get kind of stuck on a column. That kind of deal. Okay, it looks something like that. Just keep moving.
I figured as much when they made me drop my gun. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to try and fight here.
Yeah. To the game's credit, it's not all beating up guys and trying to kill them, subdue them, depending on your weapon selection. There are avoidance scenarios. What you will not encounter here is stealth. You don't have to sneak around. That isn't to say that there isn't a bit of stealth mechanics to the proceedings, as in, guards will have, probably seen it already, guards will have their backs turned to you.
You need to plan your priority on target so that you don't make someone with a gun alert to your presence before you step into their
line of sight.
Line of sight, yeah.
Yeah, they don't even have hearing mechanics. It's like the most rudimentary stealth mechanics imaginable.
Actually, they do kind of have hearing in that once you fire your weapon, they will look at you.
Yeah, that is a thing.
So, it's not as much don't have hearing mechanics as that they don't care about your footsteps. They will, if you fire off your gun, they will be alerted.
Right. Once again, it's the barest minimum.
It is
stealth.
something to make note of, though.
Right. So if you're looking for a 2D stealth 'em up, this isn't it.
Right.
This is action. I don't want to say puzzle, because you're not really trying to figure out stuff.
Yeah, it's an action game. Like it doesn't have to have any like extra additives on there. It's just an action game.
Right. It's just that it does have a variety of action.
Yeah.
Like, which is good because if this were like 2 hours of straight brawling, it'd probably overstay its welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And it does provide a nice variety. You're not just going to face, well, the basic mooks here. Probably my favorite chapter is the one where you get to fight the crystal statues. And they have, instead of pipes, knives, and pistols, they usually have things like javelins and epées, or rapiers. And they shatter real nice. Here, this is like maybe technically a puzzle in the sense that this game technically has stealth.
But, don't like the moving floor thing. Like, not even in the slightest.
Well, it gets worse because now you've got to go against the flow.
And we should be back.
Yeah. Apologies about that. Petty had a breaker trip, so that had to be reset. Thankfully,
and heaters turned down.
Yeah. That being said, yes, this is just going to be this breaker trippage is just kind of a risk that we're stuck with while he's under blizzard condition.
Right now it is -2 degrees outside, so we can't exactly turn the heaters off or the pipes will burst.
Right. So we just have to march forward with this hanging over our head like the Sword of Damocles.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we back to recording?
Yeah, we are back up and live.
Yeah. The perils of live broadcast recording. Anyway, so getting back to Lithium City, it's a solid action game. Not amazing. It's got a few snags with its choice of perspective and geometry, but oh, thank God they didn't do jumping puzzles.
Oh God, no! You'd be seeing me throw this game in the recycle bin before the review was over if I had to do jumping puzzles.
I understand that. Like, it can be done. I played Landstalker, but I also remember how awkward the jumping can be in the isometric perspective. And a game like this, where, it's got this fucking dash, that would have been a recipe for disaster.
I, too, have played Landstalker, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah, I mean, there are other isometric games I could mention, like Snake Rattle and Roll. The jumping is never not awkward in the isometric perspective. it has to do with the fact that, especially going back to the, 16-bit, 8-bit era, because all you had there was the D-pad. And, because everything's tilted, you have to adjust it. Like, thankfully, you don't have to really worry about that because, once again, there's no jumping, but also we've got analog sticks. Analog sticks work pretty well with this game.
Yeah, they do.
Like, the wonders of
the hit stun on these conveyor belts things suck because you don't have that many iframes to get out of it. So they're essentially one-hit kills.
It's got challenge.
Right.
Like, anyway, the point is, if I were giving this a almost arbitrary number, it'd be a 7 out of 10. Very solid, but not amazing, not mind blowing, not not anything revolutionary. But it's not bad either. It's a good investment for your money, especially considering the actual price, because the game clocks in at a mere $8, and it does have a soundtrack attached for $5. $8 is more than worthy for this game. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's going for that cheap. I would have expected this game going for at least 10, maybe 15. But, I think the key there is they actually took length into account, because I beat this game in about 3 hours. And, charging for, 2-3 hours of content, it's good content. It's the kind of content. Also, this is the kind of content that would have worn out had it been 6 hours or something like that. Even with the variety in it, and the fact that you can take breaks, it's still like I would not want to play a 6-8 hour version of this.
Right.
I think it. I think it got the proper amount of length. So, it's a really good game, and it's a really strong start to the year, review-wise. Anything else that you guys want to add to the conversation?
I'm so far enjoying this. What are we looking at price-wise?
I
totally glazed over it.
$8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, $8.
Look, it's good when I'm actually engrossed in the game for once and not, hoping it's over.
Right. Like I said, I think
the only thing I don't like about is the title screen thing here. I get what they're going for, but it hurts my eyes.
Yeah, this may qualify as an epilepsy warning.
Yeah, the title screen is very difficult to read.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's trying to do that faded neon sign thing.
The impression thing that you shine lights at.
Yeah.
I think it was popular in the 70s, maybe 80s.
It really doesn't work.
Yeah.
I would recommend picking this up as soon as possible. Not even waiting for a sale, because it would be cheaper. Like I think during the Steam sale, if this was under $1, but we evaluate the full price.
Oh, and I guess you can also get a soundtrack if you want.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Anyway, so I think that'll about do it for Lithium City here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Super Bunny Man.